Hello, everybody, and welcome to another awesome episode of Ignite Radio Live.
You are with Greg and Stephanie Schlueter over the 5 mighty stations of Annunciation Radio for the Almighty. We are blessed to have you with us.
And we've said this a lot in this program, that in some sense, the measure of Holy Communion is in how we live Holy Community. And that means what? It means people. It means flesh and blood. Christ took on flesh and blood that we'd experience him and experience him through one another. So tonight we have a very special guest, a dear friend of mine. He goes all the way back to what we affectionately refer to as the Key House. My days post-college at Franciscan University of Steubenville. I was traveling around the country evangelizing and found myself room and board at a man who converted from probably Presbyterianism, Paul Key, new to the Catholic faith, coming by way of, Marcus Grodi and Scott Hahn Simler. They were friends. And he invited us in his lavish, large Victorian home at Franciscan University of Steubenville, a few of us, to board with him. And they included none other than Dr. Ted Suri, Dr. Tim Gray, and with us tonight, Father Darrin Merlino. How are you doing tonight, Father?
I am doing excellent. Thank you very much.
So Father is a Claretian, just a quick backdrop, and then we're going to get to some fun stuff, and he's going to share with us in particular tonight a brand new book, his first book that he has released, and it is really exciting, 30 Days Unplugged, How a Catholic Priest Turned Off His Phone and Took a Call from God. And I want to get this out there also. Father Darrin Merlino, CatholicMediaMissionaries.com. That's where you can find the book. You can find out more about him. I'm just going to read this right from his bio. Father Darrin Merlino, CMF. Can any of you out there know what those initials are? Father Darrin, do you know what those initials are?
It means comer muchos frijoles, which means to eat more beans.
Ooh, I like that. Indeed. I respect.
But it means sons of the heart of Mary in Latin, Cordis Mariae Filii.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, Filii.
Okay. So you are a Claretian missionary priest living in L.A. Your ordination was in the year 2000, so 21 years ago. You were the first ever in U.S. history to be broadcast live via the internet. That will be your ordination. Pretty awesome. An award-winning high school teacher, Mary Star of the Sea, San Pedro, California. Associate pastor and youth minister, and for 5 years, the highly successful pastor of Sacred Heart Church in Prescott. There's so many other things here that are awesome. Founder of Catholic Media Missionaries. I think what is not on here, and I'm very disappointed, is the best capable of imitating Michael Jackson dance moves. So I have to say this. Father Darrin can you still do the moonwalk? How old are you, 90 years old right now? How old are you?
I'm 95, and Michael Jackson would have been older too if he'd been around, but yeah, I can still moonwalk.
That's impressive.
In fact, that's the first question Dr. Scott Hahn asks me every time. Can you still moonwalk?
Oh, that's great. So, folks, you have
As he should.
Yeah, you have to picture this, folks, at Franciscan University of Steubenville, a very robust, full, rich human experience beyond just academics. Father Darrin would meet on the basketball court, I might say a voracious basketball player. I don't remember who your competitor was, Father Darrin, but he was a Division I basketball player who, for whatever reason, was cut from his program, maybe for moral things, and found himself at Franciscan University. You guys would go one-on-one against each other, and, unfortunately, you were so good, you'd always get your ankles caught in the rim. Man, you could sky. Very impressive. And but then also we'd have these, you might call them talent show nights, where you'd have hundreds of kids in the student body, great musicians, and a range of talents being displayed. And the lights would go down, the smoke would come up, and then you'd get a little bit of strobe, and do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And Father Darrin would come out, not then Father, and he'd have the white glove. And it was just really remarkable. This 6'3", 6'4", depending on the day of the week. Just tons of charisma, tons of life. You were a prethee at that time, weren't you, Father Darrin?
No, I was not. I was actually just a philosophy major, just trying to get it out of the way so I could go to the seminary.
Okay, really awesome. Okay, we're getting it in there. So, Father, when I evoke the hallowed name of the Key House in the days of Steubenville, just what comes to mind? What are prominent memories?
I was, it was the most enjoyable dorm, if you can use that word, experience I ever had. Steubenville was absolutely, without a doubt, the most favorite educational experience, period, bar none for me, but also probably the most uplifting, life-changing, life-altering experience besides this 30-day book in my life. And the guys who lived there, you, Ted, Tim, Gosh, who else was Greg Meyer? I mean, we just had a lot of guys there.
Jason Clark.
I loved every minute of it. I just the community life there was awesome. I wish I could live that way every day.
It was awesome. I'd come back from Medjugorje. Obviously, I graduated from Miami of Ohio. I'd worked for Human Life International. Found myself after Medjugorje discerning the priesthood, feeling very strongly called, and wanted to experience a vibrant Catholic atmosphere. And I really felt the Holy Spirit guiding me there. The preparation and formation of what it was like to live, and many don't know truly what is it like to live in a vibrant Catholic community, and God sent me there prior to then going to live with Father Benedict Rochelle and Human Life International. But anyways, because I was so focused on the priesthood and discernment, if you recall, Ted Sri threw me a party when I discerned finally to leave the campus after evangelizing and to go live with Father Benedict Rochelle, and we had a little bit of a gathering of graduate students, Tim, Ted, a bunch of people. I don't know if you were there, but Ted, who is quite a musician also, we know him internationally as a speaker, author, etc., but also quite a musician, family man, of course. Do you remember what song he serenaded me to? He changed the words to a popular song. Do you remember?
You know why I don't remember? Because he took my bedroom when I left.
How dare he? Yeah, it's very funny.
Because I tell everybody, I met Ted Suri when he came and visited, and then Dr. Tim Gray was living there as just a regular old master student, and so. When I was leaving, they gave him my room. That's why I knew Ted, but I didn't know Ted.
Okay. Well, I'll break the suspense. So he sang, "Should I Stay or Should I Go?" In honor of me and my discernment, am I called to marriage or priesthood? And finally decided to go, and they serenaded me. And just a cute little note here, I had, range of my conservative clothes, suits, and everything. And since I was going to go live with Father Benedict Rochelle, I gave away all my clothes. And it just so happened that Tim and Ted, their sizes both pretty closely fit me, and so I guess they were blessed by Greg Schlueter clothes walking around campus as well as others. Anyways,
That's funny.
Yeah. So Father Darrin, delighted that you're with us, and in this season, it's a difficult season for our listeners right now. Right. Many are struggling with the tumult of the past years, a lot of confusion, obviously pining for Christ at the depths of our being, wanting the Eucharist, a lot of confusion with things. We had the priestly scandal stuff. So the clouds of all of that, I do think in a particular way, we're going to get to it down the road, your book, but your life experience and the book, which punctuates a lot of that, really gives great testimony for our listeners right now to be attuned and to ask, Lord, what do you want me to hear tonight? And I do pray tonight, brothers and sisters, those of you who are listening, know that you're here for a reason. You're listening for a reason. The story that Father Darrin's going to share with us, there's something in there personally meant for you.
You listeners know that here on Ignite Radio Live, we love to proclaim revolution. We want a revolution. Get rid of the masks. No, listeners, here on Ignite Radio Live, we love to proclaim the scripture of Revelation 12:11. They defeated the enemy by the blood of the Lamb, our Holy Mass, and by the word of their testimony. And so that falls on us, just the impact and the grace that the Lord allows to flow through when we share our story. So Father Darrin, give us a little bit more background on your growing up, how you came to know the Lord, where he led you to where you're at right now.
All right. So I always tell everybody you need a 30-second, a 2-minute, and a 5-minute autobiography of yourself.
We can take the 5.
You can do 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 plus.
I was born I'm actually a end of the road baby boomer. I was born in December of 1964, the 29th. So I'm like 3 days away of not being a baby boomer.
Wow.
To Gen Xer. So, but the problem is I grew up in a Gen X world, being literally a late bloomer of a boomer. And so I lived in Santa Barbara as a child, but I was born and raised in Our Lady's hometown called Santa Maria, California. And I was born there, and I lived in Lompoc, Santa Barbara as a child, up until the year my father died in the year 1976. He was only 40 years old. So my mom started dating a man whose last name I have now, Darrin Merlino, but my birth last name, believe it or not, was Darrin Anthony Cacioppo, Cacioppo.
Very Polish.
Very Polish. And if I had been named after my grandfather Vito, my name would have been Vito Antonio Cacioppo.
Come on, you got to deliver that with more Godfather-esque accent. Come on, bring it.
My name is Benito Antonio Cachopo. This is how we do business.
Oh, great memories.
Oh my gosh, I got to find that video somewhere.
Just as a note, since I'll give you that quick break, folks. Darrin was in the mass media arena, also at Franciscan University of Steubenville, with some very good friends. They would make their way to the recording studios, and there was a lot of fun in just off the cuff scripting, characterizations of things. And I think one of their favorite were sort of like Godfather-esque characters. So just to clue you in on the inside story there.
Thank you, appreciate that. So my brother and I, David, and my mom remarried and we moved to Huntington Beach, California, which is technically where I'm staying at the moment with my mom. So unfortunately, my stepdad died 5 years ago, April. But he brought us in. We changed our last names to Merlino, and that part has been history since I was 13 years old, a couple of years ago. And I would say that I didn't grow up Catholic. I was baptized Catholic during those years in Santa Barbara. My dad was a Christian Science follower. We were Christian Science for a few years, and the reason for that was he was a very sick man from his diabetes, and I understand his desperateness. It was the 70s, so I get all that. Right. So I don't blame him for that. But we just weren't raised Catholic. He didn't go to Catholic school, didn't go to Catholic church, hardly at all. And then he passed away. We've kind of unceremoniously, we just kind of went back to church. And, no huge, road to Damascus stuff, just kind of went back. And then when we moved to Huntington Beach, we just found a church. And I made my first communion when I was 13 years old, confirmed when I was 15. So, it's really, in fact, it's in my book, my first communion experience, which I think people find very interesting because it's a very unique way of receiving first communion. But I'd probably say back in 87, I got the call January 6th to be a priest on the weird feast day of the Epiphany, January 6th. So, I was like, I talked about the Lord, Heather, like, hey, Darrin's a little bit on the slow side. We really want him to be a priest, but he's not getting it at all. So, yeah. But I grew up in Huntington Beach was probably where my Catholicism thrived, of course, because it was new to me. I didn't rebel against the Catholic Church because I didn't know anything about it. So I couldn't rebel against something I didn't know and didn't grow up with. So I wasn't an altar boy. I'm the 15% guy who didn't go to Catholic school, wasn't raised Catholic, and wasn't an altar boy. So I'm like 15% who became a priest in spite of all.
Tell us a little about that. You can take a moment. How did you discover your priesthood? Just give us some insights to your discernment process.
Okay, I'll give you the 2-minute version of that. So it was April 29th, 1986. I walked into my kitchen, which is the holy sanctuary of any Italian household.
Absolutely.
Mangia.
Mangiare. Okay, so I walk into the kitchen at about 10:30 at night. I'm probably coming back from a youth group or something like young adult group or something, or DJing a party or something like that. And I walk into the kitchen, and in the backyard, I look and I see a very opaque, ghostly figure of Jesus in my backyard, with his hands and palms facing down, like below his waist. And I'm going, I've never seen, it's got to be the moon. The way it just kind of hitting the plants. It's a full moon tonight.
Interesting.
And so I'm like, oh, that's got to be what it is. So I walk out, come back in, I close my eyes and do, make sure. And sure enough, I felt like goosebumps come upon me. I'm like, oh, this is really weird. So I woke up my mom. She said she didn't see it. I saw it. But so we started praying in the kitchen every once in a while at night. So that went on for a good, from April until January of 87, so almost 8 months.
Wow.
I'd go in various times, and we would just have conversations and prayer. And at that time, I probably was a little bit naive in how the spiritual life worked. I didn't know about spiritual directors. I'm seriously, I felt like I was Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles was showing me how to get home. It was just really
great analogy.
I really didn't know what was going on. But
that was sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, folks. I'll be here all day.
Don't forget to tip your waitress. So one night, I was going to my video school at the time. I was going to do video production in the Hollywood area. That was my goal. And I knew that I needed to learn how to do it and how to troubleshoot machines. And so I went to a technical school to do that. And in the middle of that, I finished that school, and like in December of 85, and we all know how great of a I'm sorry, I started in 85. I finished in December of 86. So December of 86 comes, January 6th of 87 comes, and, I've been praying, and to be honest with you, I still wasn't really that open, but I guess I didn't know if I was open or not for the priesthood. It wasn't even on my radar. And then my mom blurts out of the blue, she says, I think the Lord's calling you to be a priest. And I just, the flooding of the Holy Spirit was ridiculous.
That's awesome.
To the point where I actually suffocated. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here?
Wow.
And I was like going, wow. I was like, what I said. So and I immediately said yes, I would do it. And so I'm like, where the heck did that come from? And so because I wasn't open at the time. So it was just really weird. I just said yes to it. And then it took about a year and 8 months later to enter a religious community by then, because it was, I didn't know what to do. I asked my priest at the church, what do I do? And he said, well, you have to go to college. I go, why? Because you just have to. I said, okay. So I went to college because, like I said, things are a lot easier now because you got smarter people telling you what to do.
That's funny.
And they just have, and so, but what's funny, here's what happened. And this is the reason why I know Greg, is because of this. So, and this is very important to understand. In 1987, a place called Medjugorje became a huge deal in 87. I mean, it was making huge. So I plan on going in July of 87. Well, I was looking at the Miracle of the Sun, probably, at the meantime, before July of 87, I had already applied to Long Beach State because the priest said you got to get a high school, a college education, so I did. And so I was a pragmatist, I guess you'd say. So I go to, it's July 25th, 1987, and if anybody who knows anything about Medjugorje knows that the church's name is St. James. It's the feast day of St. James. So it's a big deal, big day. That's a Saturday at the time, and I had been there from like that previous Sunday. So it's been there for almost a week, seeing the Miracle of the Sun for hours, looking at the sun change color, seeing the Eucharist, seeing the cross. I even got to be inside the apparition room.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And so I think it was like 2 out of the 4 or 6 or 4 out of the 6 were there at the time. And I got to go in, obviously didn't see anything miracle-wise. I even videotaped the Miracle of the Sun. I actually have the Miracle of the Sun on video where you see it strobe light super fast during the Angelus. I mean, I had it all. So, on July 25th, 8-something p.m., in the background, I'm talking to some kids from Washington State. I hear somebody go, oh, look, the Miracle of the Sun. So I look at the sun, I don't know, 10, maybe 15 seconds. And then I didn't say anything. Oh, okay, sunset, move on. Well, in the meantime, when you look at the sun, you see those dots on your eyes that kind of go away. Mine wasn't going away. And I'm like going, oh no, I hope I didn't do what I thought I just did.
Yeah.
I just spent hours looking at the sun for the whole week and nothing happened. So I'm like going, so why would I think anything differently? So about 10, 15 seconds, looked away. Well, anyway, long story short, I actually burnt the focal points on my retinas on my eyes. And so the doctor gave me good and bad news. He goes, well, I saw him that Wednesday when we got back. He goes, good news is it won't spread. Bad news is it's permanently burnt. You can't. Your focal points are completely shot. You can't see small print. You won't be able to focus on small stuff. And guess what? That's why when I went to school for the first day at Long Beach State, I dropped out. I've never dropped out of anything. I just was so nervous. I didn't feel at peace. Right. And had I not done that, I never would have gone to Steubenville to finish up my philosophy degree. And that's how I ended up at Franciscans, because I still needed a college degree to go in the seminary. So had I gone to Long Beach State, I never would have gone to Franciscan ever. It would not have been on the cards. It would have been part of I would have just gone straight into the seminary. And so that was devastating when I had that happen to me. I even had one diocese say, we won't take you because of your eyes. I had the religious order I had one religious order say, well, we have to make sure the doctor said it's okay for you to study. I didn't know how I was going to be able to study because I learned how to read with my peripheral vision. Seeing street signs were impossible. I always got lost before GPS because I'd drive by streets. Oh, there it was. I had to make a U-turn. I would do that all. I was so frustrated, and I could never see street signs because it was just the size of my blindness. And so the Lord, for whatever reason, blessed me with such a cross. That I felt that peace about it, but I just was not very happy with it. But at least I could still drive. I could still study. I found out later. But, there's a lot of things that the Lord had done for me to get me where I'm at. I learned about Steubenville in my previous seminary from one of my formators. Told me about Steubenville and had never heard of it before. That's how I found out about it. So that's my that was my long version. That's my non-Reader Digest version.
That's great. That's great. Folks, you're tuned into Ignite Radio Live with Greg and Stephanie Schlueter. Very blessed to have Father Darrin Merlino. You can find out his work in his brand new book at Catholic Media Missionaries. He's sharing with us just our kind of a common beloved background. Intersection was at Franciscan University of Steubenville, and just his journey up to the point of embracing, if you will, his call to the priesthood. So, Father, of all the religious orders, why the Claretians?
Well, that's funny. When I was with my previous religious order, my spiritual director was a Claretian, or is a Claretian, still alive. And so, Father, and ready for this, his name is Father Robert, but his last name is Bishop, so we called him Father Bishop.
That's great.
So his name was Father Bishop, and so I told him if he ever became Bishop, he'd be called Bishop Squared.
There you go.
I like it.
B squared.
And yeah, so Father Robert Bishop goes, I left my previous order, and he remained my spiritual director here in Huntington Beach, LA area. And I would say from about February of '91, which is 30 years ago this month, to probably October or November of that same year, which, to be honest with you, emotionally the worst year of my life. Because they asked me to leave, and I thought I was going to make it, and I just didn't. They were very monastic and contemplative, and my personality is believe it or not, I love.
You're a little introverted.
Yeah, I'm very introverted, but that was the funny part is I loved the quiet. What I did, but the problem was the lack of freedom in that life to do what the God wanted me to do. So fast forward, he says, "Hey, why don't you look at us?" I go, and here's the funny part. So when I was with this, during in 88, 89, and 90, on October 24th, our order would do the Office of Readings in the morning, and St. Anthony and Mary Claret's feast day would be October 24th. And I remember every time he read the second reading, which is an excerpt from the saint itself, St. Anthony's really stirred my soul. And I didn't know who this guy was. I really like what this guy says. He's on fire for the love of God. He wants to change the world. I love this guy, what he's saying. And so I absolutely still think it's my favorite second reading of all the breviary of the whole year. It's still my favorite.
That's beautiful.
And so, yeah, it just really moved my soul. So I didn't know anything. I just kind of it moved my soul next day, next hour, move on, right? So when he said, he goes, "Oh, you're one of these guys." Oh, okay. So when he asked me to look at to talk to their vocation director, he goes, I go, "Well, tell me about you guys." And so this is what he said. He goes, "Well, we like to evangelize. We like to use all means necessary. So if you like to do media ministry, back then it was called communications. Remember communication degrees? You want to be a communications person, you could do that. You can, use TV." And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I mean, so the Lord really wants me to use, my entertainment abilities for the church. That'd be really kind of cool. Yeah, that's what I want to do. And so I applied to the Claretians that way. And to be honest with you, I applied, got accepted, and then I also was given a choice to go to Cal State Dominguez, a local LA college here, or go on my own. So I applied to Franciscan, I applied to Christendom, and Thomas Aquinas, and Thomas Aquinas College in California. They said, "Oh, we'll get you out in 3 years." I go, "No, I ain't gonna spend $20,000 a year for 3 years." No, that ain't happening. And so Steubenville got me in and out for 1 year, and they were the easiest way. I was planning on going to Christendom. I really wanted to go there because I wanted to play college basketball. That was they're kind of cool to say I played college basketball, but that didn't. But God really wanted me at Franciscan, and that ended up being an amazing thing. So the Claretians are servants of the Word. And so our St. Anthony Claret, without a doubt, was the greatest media priest, a bishop in the history of the church at the time. In fact, probably, literally, I can honestly say without even worrying about going to purgatory longer, he was he was literally the first media bishop priest ever in the history of the church. He's got the most catechisms written, the most books written at the time. he would literally send his homilies and his booklets and his catechisms ahead of time when he preached during his missions, because he knew that people wouldn't remember what he said. But if he printed it up, basically he wrote his homily text into a book form, booklets, and sent them ahead of time. So he'd hand those out to all the people who were listening to his missions preach.
That's awesome.
And we preach missions at parishes. That's what we used to do, and just working parishes with. So that's why I go that. And so here's the funny part. I joined the Claretians. I'm already in. It's the fall of '93. I've already finished Steubenville, and then I read his autobiography. And they kept telling me to read it. I go, yeah, I'll read it. I already know enough and here's the funny part. After I read his autobiography, after being accepted, I said, you know what? I think I'm going to be able to stay because I love what he writes. And his autobiography, it's something that even like Greg, who's really into evangelizing, when you read his autobiography and you hear it and you see his creativity in evangelization, even back in the 1880s and 1860s and 50s and 40s and 70s and all that kind of stuff, you're like, oh my gosh, this guy was so ahead of his time. He decided he had this weird idea of laity working with priests and religious in evangelization. Talk about forward thinking. That was so forward thinking.
Do you have a third order?
No.
Let's get it going, Father. We got to talk offline here. There's got to be some lay connectivity. I'm hearing you speak in a couple of things I got to punctuate. One is your joy, your delight, your authenticity. I know you as a red-blooded American male in all that means, and attuned to God's will and his purpose in your life. Obviously, the media, the gifts, that's important. And I'm repeating these things for the benefit of any of you young people out there who are listening and rightly saying, how am I going to find meaning and purpose in life? And for starters, it's only going to be through the God who made you. And many of you have disregarded perhaps priesthood or religious life as a possibility. I can tell you, Father Darrin gives phenomenal witness to the robust life that God calls us to. And if some of you like media, you're used to social media, particularly the last 10, 15 years, and you want to use that for the kingdom, you want to, touch hearts for the kingdom and the fullness of the faith, you want a community that does that, I'm going to encourage you again, check out CatholicMediaMissionaries.com. You can find Father Darrin Merlino. And again, we're going to get to his book in a second here, 30 Days Unplugged. But Father, we'd miss the opportunity here with the captive audience if I didn't ask you to identify one or maybe two key things, advice that you would give to young people right now in college or high school discerning their vocation. And you can go more than two. I'm just, you're an overachiever, but let's say one or two.
Yeah. Yes. Here's the thing. I'm giving you my first 5 years of advice in 2 minutes, because again, Stevie Wonder here, very frustrated. I'm very upset that I have to explain it to you this way, but here's what happened. So my suggestion is you need to know who you are, period. End of story. Do not sacrifice any part of your personality, any part of your talents,
so good.
None of that. If you do any of that, I will slap you silly, because that's not. I used to hear guys, I got to sacrifice my will to do God's will. I go, no, you're not sacrificing your will. You're aligning your will with His, which brings you more peace. But second of all, you have to take Teresa of Avila's words seriously. Know thyself to be a saint. You have to know yourself. And that's why the Ignatius exercises were so important, because I might agree with all their theology, but I sure love their discernment process. The discernment process is the best in the business. But you have to know yourself. Second is, if you're going to be a priest, you got to figure out, do I want to work in a parish the rest of my life, or do I want to have flexibility and do a bunch of different things in my life? If it's going to be parish life for the rest of your life, every single day, dealing with flowers and annoying parishioners and asking you dumb questions like where to put the candles, if that's what you want to do, and you want to, then you have to, and I tell you, I'll say it that way, and the guy's like, yeah, I want to do that. So, good, and that's what you do. You go to your diocese and you discern it. But if you want variety, you think you have a different type of spirituality, you have to look at your personality, what gifts you want to use, and you find a religious order that uses those gifts and talents, which is what I was trying to do when I first started my first religious order, because in the brochure it said open to other things. So I thought, being a communications person, they would be open to it, and then found out later that was not true. And guess what? After 30 years and knowing these guys really, really well, they're like some of my best friends. It's true. They're not open to it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Hey, I want to speak your unspoken words, of course. You and I know beloved priests who are, as they say, secular diocesan priests, making huge differences in their parishes and all of that sort of thing. You're speaking, obviously, of the day-to-day demands of that particular calling that one should really be attentive to, which is very noble and sacrificial in all those sorts of ways. So as my brother, I got to fill that out a little bit for any of our beloved priests who may be listening and others who may be discerning diocesan life.
I was a pastor for 5 years, and it's funny. I love the opportunity to change a culture in a parish. It was really good. But I always knew that wasn't my calling, and that's why you really have to know yourself. Like, I knew that parish life wasn't for me, and some of my best friend priests are diocesan priests, and talk about being on the front lines, dude. Especially with COVID right now. Yeah, it's been crazy. These guys have been, my heart's been going out to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just have to ask, because I'm sure many of our listeners are wondering the question, has your eyesight worsened at all, or?
No, he was right. He just, just getting older because I have to use readers now. But other than that, nope, just they didn't spread. It's just there. I've even seen a picture of it. Yeah, it just stayed the same. I'm so happy about that.
Right.
I'm so happy it didn't spread. He was, yes.
And you remained such a formidable basketball player in the Steubenville days. So, man, we didn't even know that. You didn't even call your handicap and you're doing that well, which is great.
But I'm sure, obviously, it is a cross, but also what a beautiful reminder of God's providence and his leading and his faithfulness.
Hey, Father, do you remember we called her Sister Michael Jordan? I don't know if you were around.
I think her name was Sister Timothy, right? Sister Timothy Michael
possibly.
Jordan.
You paint the portrait of this wonderful lady at Franciscan.
So we would play basketball outside, and we'd pass the ball to her, and she'd just take these 2-pointers and 3-pointers, and sometimes make them. But she just had a great form, and I was like, I personally, I didn't want to guard her, because I know
full habit.
Full habit.
Rosary swinging around.
Yeah, I just didn't want to hurt, because you know how I play. I play very.
You're a beast.
I'm a beast, and they don't call me Father Savage for a reason.
Indeed.
That was my nickname on the basketball court at my youth group.
Yeah.
And that's another story.
No mercy.
No mercy. That's exactly what I say. There's no mercy in the game, only on the confessional.
Yeah.
Well, for our listeners also, she had, I believe, an NCAA. She played on some NCAA team, found her vocation. Very beautiful. And just what a great testimony. I believe she was a Nashville Dominican, maybe a sister for life.
You're right.
No, I think she's a Nashville Dominican. But again, for young ladies who have a range of gifts and call, how God edifies that range of gifts and weaves them into, as you use the word marvelously, alignment with his purpose, with that ultimate fulfillment. And she, in that particular example, was just endearing, amusing, and just wonderful.
So I'm sure there's so much more that we could talk about, but let's jump ahead before we keep saying this, before we get to the book. But just give us a little background on Catholic Media Missionaries. How did that start? You're a co-founder. Tell us a little bit about that.
And wait, and did Joseph Cinemato, did he pay for that last name? Come on. Really? Cinemato is his last name.
I cannot confirm or deny that remark, but what do you think?
Enough said.
You're smarter than me, Greg. I fell for it.
I don't know.
Gosh.
I don't know.
I totally fell for it. I go, Joseph, man, your name is Destiny. What is it? He goes, well, I have to tell you, I changed my name. His last name was Chavez or something like that. It was really cool.
That's very funny. Anyways.
And this goes into the book. So can we, if I tell you about Catholic Media Mission, we can go right into the book.
Flow right
Let's
from
do that.
there.
Just let me punctuate for our audience. Folks, blessed to have Father Darrin Merlino with us, a wonderful, godly priest, friend back Steubenville days. He recently completed a book, 30 Days Unplugged, how a Catholic priest turned off his iPhone and took a call from God. So, Father Darrin, set this up for us. Tell us about your new book.
So, January of 18, we're on retreat in California. It was really cold that day. It was 45, 50 degrees. It was awful here in California.
Oh, please.
I think
we all feel so sad.
I had to wear a sweater that day. That's how bad it was.
Poor guy.
So my provincial asked me, okay, we're giving you permission to leave your parish, because I was leaving Sacred Heart in Prescott, Arizona. I already got getting the $3.2 million and moving forward on the remodel. Had all the contracts basically signed and moving forward. And so he asked me what I want to do. I go, well, you know what? I really feel that I need to do a 30-day silent retreat to find out how God wants me to do this media ministry.
That's awesome.
I've been talking about it forever. I mean, and I didn't do well the first time. I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm a kind of guy who makes a lot of mistakes on purpose to learn. That's how I learn. And so
it's a great insight.
You know what? He goes, okay, go ahead. So I looked into places, and I asked the Jesuit who was doing our retreat then. I said, hey, where's a good place to do a retreat? I go, I want it dry. I want it warm. I don't want to deal with humidity. I don't want to go to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I want to go to a place. He goes, well, you got to go to Sedalia, Colorado. It's dry. It's a lot of land. You can walk for hours. It'd be a perfect place. Well, I took his advice, told my provincial. He said, okay. So I tell the spiritual director there, I want to discern how God wants me to go. And I had 4 choices to make. And the reason why I can't tell you, I can just tell you the ideas because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or to talk bad about anything. So I find a place, Sedalia, Colorado. I apply, they accept me, and I go. And one of the things I learned on this retreat is that once you know your desires and passions, that's how God speaks to us in learning our will and doing His will. So you probably implicitly have done that, Greg and Stephanie, but or you knew about it. I didn't know anything about this stuff, so I was another Stevie Wonder moment. And so I also knew that if I spent the 30 days in silence, the Lord would speak to me. So I go on the 30-day retreat, and I would say about 3/4 way into it, and you'll see it in my book. I go, something's. These are insights and these imagery and his experiences. I go, something tells me these are very unique. These are not normal insights. I just had this sense. I go, something's not right here, in a good sense. I go, something. So I asked my spiritual director. I go, hey, do Jesuits write about their 30-day retreat? He goes, oh yeah, Jesuits do it all the time. I go, should I write about my 30 days? Because I was just writing in my journal. I had no intention of making it public. He goes, yes, absolutely. You should definitely write it. And so I said, are you sure? He goes, yeah, definitely. You have the most incredible imagination I've ever seen in any human being in my life. Your imagination is off the charts. I go, okay. I didn't know, because I don't hear people's experiences 8 hours a day, 350 days a year. This guy, that's all he does is hear people's experiences on Ignatius. I mean, they do the big boy stuff. When I was there, nobody talked to anybody. It was silent. And we had 50 people in the room, and the real deal. And I said, and they said, you can sit and eat your food looking outside. You can sit over here. You can go over there. Doesn't matter. We want you to. They fully embrace, and nobody talked to anybody. I loved it.
No Michael Jackson going on there.
Oh no! When I say I unplugged, I pretty much unplugged the 30 days. So
can I pause you for a second? Just that whole idea. Just start there for listeners to unplug, like to detach from this thing that is digitally woven into our being and our fabric, and kicking out dopamine hits and rewiring our brain and the way we think of things, and creating our emotional lives and all of that sort of. I mean, just that alone must have been a challenge.
I really was looking forward to it. I can't tell you how much I was looking forward to just shutting down. So I jokingly tell in my book, I go, well, what does a baby boomer tell the generation, millennials and Gen Z people where I'm going? So I went on my Facebook, I went on my Twitter. It says, okay, guys, I'm going on a silent retreat. I'm turning off everything. I'll see you in a month. Bye. Click. Turn off.
You just say it. Yep.
That's how I had to do it. There's no other way of doing it, because people would think that they would actually think you died or something. Like, what happened to this guy?
Right.
And then I only had Twitter and Facebook. Now I have, Instagram is now the new thing. But so I did that. And what's really weird? I brought my computer with me because I didn't know if I was going to type. I didn't know if I was going to type my journal or just write it out. So I brought both just in case. And then I also, because I was still pastor, I was up until that point, and we were right in the middle of our remodel, and I had to, just in case there was an emergency,
Mm-hmm.
have to send a document or something like that, because I had to be also practical as well. So it was one of those just in case. I said, if you really need to get a hold of me, here's the phone number of the retreat center. They'll give me a message and then I'll respond back to you. That's what I told people. Like, here's the place I'm staying at, just in case there was an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, unplugging, having in complete silence. My imagination went off the charts. It was so ridiculous what my imagination was given permission to do.
Mm-hmm.
The good, bad, and the ugly. And there are some meditations in there. It's like, I honestly do not know where that came from.
Mm-hmm.
And I even write in my book, like, where did that come from?
Right, that's awesome.
One of my meditations is it's called the G-More. And when you see the book, when you get the book, you got to read it.
It's very cool looking, by the way. Just to buy the cover would be very cool. Obviously, it's a great book, but you probably can't judge a book by its cover, but the cover is very cool.
I would say in this case, you're right. You can judge a book by this cover.
Mm-hmm.
The artwork you see on that cover is just is an onion level, a skin level of what is actually in the book. And the funny thing is the text itself didn't need the artwork. It's just the artwork is like, you know, we have this chocolate cake with chocolate frosting. We're going to put some hot fudge on it too. So I have to tell you this part. So now I go on the retreat, and at the very end of the retreat, I go, okay, Father Pham, he's one of my blurb writers on the back cover. And I said, seriously, should I really write this book? Come on. Don't BS me. It's Barbara Streisand, by the way.
Yes.
Don't BS me. I said, come on, seriously, should I write it? He goes, absolutely. And that's when he told me, you have an incredible imagination. I was like, oh, okay. And so I tell everybody that now mind you, that's July of 18. It took a year, 9 months, and COVID to actually convict me to write the book.
Whatever it takes.
So we can
blame you for COVID.
We have you to thank
Thanks,
for
Father.
COVID. Yeah.
We'll be directing everybody your way.
Yeah, please do. I live at 1600 what's it, Pennsylvania Avenue.
There you go.
So I write the book. So I talked to Joseph Cinemato, and I go, look, Joseph, we can't shoot our TV show. It's another conversation. We can't shoot our TV show, Hound of Heaven. We can't really raise money during this environment. It would be kind of uncool to ask people for money when we don't know where the money's going to be going because of the economic shutdown. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to write this book. So I wrote the first month from March until April, end of April of COVID. I just wrote the book, and so let me go back now. So I get back from my retreat. I have a conversation with my provincial. I tell my provincial, these are the 4 choices you gave me. 2 were yours, and one was working in LA, and one was working in the Santa Barbara region with another media company. And the Holy Spirit said LA or this media company, but Chicago and Fresno were they were Claretian places. I said, the Lord does not want me to go there. I can't tell you why. I just know that the Lord doesn't want me to be there. So I'll tell you why I wanted to do LA. Because I know everybody in LA. Everybody knows me in LA. I have thousands of connections here. It's the media capital of the world. If I want to do the best of the best and have a great team and put people together, this is where I have to live. Mm-hmm. And he goes, you know what? As much as I really need you over here, I'm going to bite the bullet and take one for the team and leave you here and let you do this media ministry here. So I said, I need to have a team. I need to have people work with me. I got to get the best of the best. I got to work with these people. And I didn't know who they were. So I talked to this guy named a guy from Santiago Studios, Mark McGilrath, and I said, hey, do you know a guy who can do video production? He goes, yeah, Joseph Cinemato's your guy. That's your guy, Joseph Cinemato. I go, okay. So I call up Joseph. It was January of 19. I say, hey, can you shoot my TV show for me? I'm going to be doing an interview show. I'm going to interview Chuck Konzelman and Carrie Solomon, the guys who wrote the movie and directed the movie Unplanned and God's Not Dead 1 and 2. They're very good friends of mine. They're going to be my pilot episode of this TV show called The Hound of Heaven. Can we meet? So we have coffee, and it was an afternoon coffee. So it went 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours.
That's awesome.
4 hours.
Wow. 5 hours.
I go, I got to go. He goes, oh my gosh, I got to go too. My fiance is going to be very upset that we spent 5 hours having a coffee and talk. We just hit it off really well. Like we have the same dreams, the same hopes. He's definitely an older millennial, and I'm a young boomer, so we're about 20 some odd years apart. And I was kind of jealous, like, gosh darn, I wish I would have had something like this in my earlier years. Probably things would have. But anyways, God's got his way reasons. So it's freaky how we think alike. We have the same we have the same mentality on so much stuff. But he knows production really well. He's worked in Hollywood. He's won 10. You see it on our website, 10 tellies, which is the equivalent of the Oscar for television commercials in Hollywood, which is the industry standard. So to say you're a telly winner in Hollywood means that you know what you're doing. Right. And so I was talking to him on the phone. And I said, so you kind of are an A-list talent. I was being snobby about it. I go, so it sounds like you're an A-list talent. He goes, yeah, you could say that. And I really didn't know how much it was. Here's the funny part. His birthday. I found this out almost a year, about 10 months later. Find out that his birthday is the feast day of Saint Anthony Mary Claret.
Oh, that's awesome. Praise God. Love it.
And I freaked
Love
out.
it.
We both had that, are you kidding me? Freaked out look on our face. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I have like a unique personality, and Joseph has the ability to do really top level, Hollywood level. I mean, he did a lot of the interviews for Dancing with the Stars. He worked for Disney. I mean, he's got the
chops.
He's got the chops, and he's got the context. Like this last interview we did with Mike Sosha, he had 2 guys from Disney help us out because everybody's on furlough right now. So we got some really talented guys doing sound and camera and stuff. So
I see a common connection. Mike Sweeney. I was very involved with the Champions of Faith project, which of course is sort of like Major League meets Rocky Balboa. Mikey Sweeney was one of the maybe 7 or 8 superstars, Donnelly, Sweeney, Supan, Leland, etc. I wrote the inner sleeve and did the marketing for that project. So a good member here on your board with Kerry Solomon and Chuck Konzelman. Impressive.
Yes. Yeah, we if I could say that our goal is to increase the standard of Christian Catholic media and evangelization at a Hollywood level, and I use that on purpose because I want to use talented people for the kingdom and to pay a fair wage, but also to really do top quality stuff.
That's what we need. That's what we need.
And so Chuck and Kerry and myself, Chuck and Kerry, we're already consider ourselves the 4 amigos, and our person. It's like funny when we get together, all 4 of us. It's like we're all synchronized. There's a synergy, synchronicity that's really off the charts, amazing. I mean, we're all on the same page. I think I honestly, there might be a few things that we're not, but I don't even know what those are. But there might be something down the road. But they really want to entertain and evangelize using a Christian message, and we really want to do the same thing. And having a Catholic priest I really I don't like the idea of promoting myself. We actually want to promote artists and Catholic evangelists and Catholic media missionaries. So like the Gregs and so forth, who really want to at a high level be speakers or movie directors or book writers or physical artists or illustrations, whatever it might be. We really want to be a standard. And it's different than when you have with Formed and other, because those guys are really catechetical and those guys are super smart. Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not an academic.
Yeah.
I can hold my own, but to be honest with you, to go into the Scott Hahn realm, those guys are so brilliant.
Yeah.
I can't. So why would I enter a realm that I can't be good at? But I can be creative. I can come up with a creative story and make an incredible idea come to life. I could do that.
Yep.
Which you will see in this book.
Awesome. Let me pause here for a second, just for our listening audience, folks. We're told the 4 transcendentals. So these, along with the virtues, are the attributes of God, but the good, beautiful, true, and one, all attributes that are woven into our humanity. But in this culture, many have written this. I'm going to summarize what an insight of effective evangelization over the last 30, 40, 50 years, and maybe even from the beginning of time. The door that typically opens a heart and mind to God It can be true. It was more in the philosophical days when we had a more academic society and culture, and that is very important. But for most of the world today, it is the beauty. It's through the door of beauty, through the door of that encounter, the enrapturing encounter of God, and that is typically through great art. It's through music. It's through movies. It's through a story. Spielberg said that the world's not made up of atoms; it's made up of stories. And I'm just affirming here, Father, that I think a lost passion, a lost art and craft is the ability to connect through beauty, excellent beauty, with hearts and minds that open up the door. Of course, you had Tolkien, right? The whole cosmology was very Catholic. You have C.S. Lewis. All these stories. I encourage any of you who are listening out there, set aside the phone, just start there. Follow Father Darrin. Set aside those things that may be robbing us of that creative energy, that impulse of the divine, that participation in God. Set aside, see what happens if you set aside your phone in the discretionary time on a weekend maybe, and ask God to put creative ideas or thoughts. I think we're missing out in this culture of those, the genius, the creative genius that should be forming and shaping us. So I just had to throw that out there because it seems like that's exactly what you're about.
Yeah, and I be honest with you, I actually asked the Lord, I said, just give me a taste of your imagination. Just give me a taste of it. Because I know if he can come up with this world, if I had a taste of that, it would be very, very Book of Revelation-esque. And so I would say that in one of our fellow friends, Greg and I knew in Steubenville, was Celeste, then Gregory, but now Fortenberry, husband's a congressman now for Nebraska. Yep. And I asked her, I said, okay, I asked her through a text, I said, would you say that my book is St. Augustine's Confessions meets Dante's Divine Comedy? Because she brought up the imagery of the Divine Comedy in her blurb, and I go, and I said, would that be a fair assessment of my book? And she said, absolutely. And I said, okay, that makes sense then, because it is a spiritual autobiography. It's my experiences. You're kind of like, but you're also like, it's kind of like watching Dante go through the different levels of hell, purgatory, and heaven. And so, but the thing was, when I wrote the book, it was, but I had no intention of writing a book when I went to the retreat. I just wanted to figure out what God's will was for me to do. And because I said, okay, Lord, I'm trusting that you're going to send me the right people to work with me. So he sent me Jason, who designed my book. He's also part of the artwork. Jason is Hollywood level. He did the artwork for Unplanned. He did the artworart for some movie called The Passion of the Christ by Mel Gibson.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, another one called Chronicles of Narnia, 300. These are small budgeted films that nobody's ever heard of. But
I worked on both of those, by the way, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so Jason, without a doubt, is literally the Michelangelo of web design and graphic design and just creativity, and you can't duplicate him. And it's like duplicating Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. You can't duplicate these guys, Michael Jordan. They're just one of a kind, and that's exactly what Jason is. And so Jason, he says, I'll design your book for you, and I said, well, I want you to do some artwork for it. So he does. He's got a unique style, and you'll see it in the book, and it's kind of cool. So the Lord brought me Jason, and my buddy Roger is my copywriter. You'll see him on my website. Guy is brilliant copywriter, probably the best copywriter out there, and he can edit faster than you can spit. This guy can edit stuff and make it sound far superior than what you wrote. I can tell you how many things he's done for my parish, for this website, that he just, I write something up and I go, wait, did I even write that? Because he's so good at taking my idea and just like he's the only novelist and author I've ever met in my life that can actually be the only person who can edit his own material. Nobody can edit his. I've never seen anything like it. No one does that. So that's how good. So I have this incredible copywriter. I have this incredible graphic designer. I got Joseph who knows what he's doing, and we got Chuck and Carrie as our go-to guys for stuff to run stuff by. To be honest with you, we're setting ourselves up for a unique opportunity to bring really high level evangelization, storytelling at a great level. Look at the Lord of the Rings. It's an amazing gospel story.
Yeah.
And yes,
Tolkien wouldn't like to hear that, but it is the cosmology of what we were made by God's design and our participation in it. So you're absolutely right. Kind of coming through a back door. Hey,
Yes.
just a quick break. Folks who are
Sure.
attuned to Ignite Radio Live, Greg and Stephanie, very delighted to have Father Darrin Merlino with us. You can find out everything about his awesome mission and ministry at CatholicMediaMissionaries.com. We're talking about his new book, 30 Days Unplugged, which is a chronicle, a personal chronicle, as he compares to kind of an Augustine confessions of his own journey of unplugging from an iPhone. And if you check out the reviews, they're all 100%. It's pretty rare. Now, the book is new. They're only 8, so go and get it. Make sure you give them a 5-star rating. But so far, all 8 ratings are 5 stars, which is impressive. One of them says a perfect 10. And I just want to pull, Father Darrin, just one quote from one of your reviewers here and just get your thoughts on it.
Yet, so, yeah.
All right, so let's see who the reviewer is. John Pearson. All right, John Pearson says, and wow, God has gifted Father Merlino with a vivid imagination. He invites us to scamper along his rabbit trails and sidebars, including George McFly in Back to the Future, the divine experience of an 8-man rowing crew team, parentheses, reminds him of the book The Boys in the Boat, which is a great book, by the way. Then at Dodger Stadium, he's blasting home runs during BP. And get this, under Michelangelo's tutelage, quote, God chisels me fatter and bald to show me the true image of how he sees me now.
Love it.
Your thoughts?
John actually wrote one of the blurbs. His son is the one who designed the book, and he's probably one of the best reviewers I've ever seen anywhere. Those were amazing experiences in my book. That Dodger Stadium BP experience, when you read it, still to this day, when I see that picture and I think about that experience, it brings incredible joy. The consolation of that meditation is life altering. The boat one where I've experiencing perfection, because when you row, you are perfect for 2,000 meters. You're not for 6 minutes. You got to be perfect for 6 minutes to win a race, and if you're not, you lose. Period. End of story. And when you have ADHD. And so, like myself, it was really hard. That's, of course, one time I raced and it was my fault. We lost.
I need to punctuate something here for our listeners. When I was living with Father Benedict Grichel, I was traveling all over, and, he knew I might have had a vocation to the priesthood, and I was at Steubenville, and he called and said, Gregory, if you're going to discern your vocation, you got to leave it all behind. And that's why I gave the van away and the clothes and everything and went to live with him. But in our walks, I was very blessed to be under his guidance. He conveyed the absolute importance of imagination, how important it is to have and make opportunities that foster imagination. I just ask all of us to consider the question, what do you do in your life every day, if not every week, that fosters imagination, that invites you to really think and create, because that's the heart of a God, the Trinitarian God, right? The Ruah hovering across the water. We are close to God in that creative space. Hey, Darrin, Father Darrin, with a little time that we have left, what are some prominent points that you would leave us with following this experience? And we do hope to have you back again. But what are some prominent things that you need to punctuate from this experience?
I would say the silence is the key. Of turning off everything. Even if you read this book at home and you have anyway, you have to be quiet. I'm an extrovert. I love to talk, but that quietness is absolutely necessary. And the truth of what God's will is for you is in your passion and desires of what God wants you to do. You have to follow that. You always say, follow your passion. Absolutely true. Totally believe that. But even if it becomes a hobby, you might be in a job right now where you have to do it for your living, but you have to have a hobby. The other thing too is the understanding that God actually, truly, 1,000% truly loves you. I cannot emphasize that enough. I really didn't expect that. I knew it, but when I experienced it, and there's some meditations in there that will bring you to tears, brought me to tears. Really tears. There's one that just, I don't want to tell anybody because I want them to get the book, but there's one that just absolutely brought me to tears, and I did not see that coming. And I was really surprised that God can speak to me that way, that he really wanted to work through my imagination and my creativity. And we're all creative. I've seen people who were shy as heck take improvisational comedy classes and be the funniest person in the room. And so do things like that. I would say that these experiences, allowing the good, bad, and the ugly of your life, is how God has worked in your life. He's taken whatever bad's happened to you, he'll make good come out of it. He did with me. I mean, I trust in his divine providence way more than I used to before. And hence, you look at my website, you look at the guys I'm working with. There's not because of my natural ability. I just knew somebody who knew somebody, and then that's how I know these people. And so, and these were all brought to me by God. I did not know who these people were until they were brought to me. So, allow the Holy Spirit to really guide you, and that's what I did. And I can see with my 30-day retreat, that was just, I went to, I mean, I can't even explain to you the levels of the depths of I still to this day speak to Jesus all the time. Like, okay, what's going to happen here? What are you going to do here? I really need your help there. And it's like practicing the presence of God by Brother Lawrence book. And I think that once you get in that habit, you see Jesus working in your life in every minute detail. Way better after this experience.
That's awesome. Folks, we're with Father Darrin Merlino, his brand new book, 30 Days Unplugged, How a Catholic Priest Turned Off His iPhone and Took a Call from God. I encourage you all to get it. You can find it, of course, on Amazon. Even if you just do the quick search, 30 Days Unplugged, you will find the book. It'll take you right there. And I want to direct you also to his mission website, CatholicMediaMissionaries.com. So blessed to have you on the program with us tonight, Father Darrin, and just know of our thoughts and prayers, and just so blessed to be kindred with you in the mission fields at this time in history. Thanks so much for being with us, Father. We'll look forward to the next time we get to interview you. God bless.